Hello guys. This is a crazy and funny topic involving Bama. But before we get to the news, subscribe to the channel to receive more news about the team. Jacksonville State coach Rich Rodriguez's recent good-natured teasing of the possibility of facing Alabama football has resurfaced a discussion that has come up from time to time on the state's sports scene. Why doesn't Alabama play more local teams? While Rodriguez's remarks were clearly in jest, with him suggesting that he would be willing to play Alabama for $2 million per game and even sing Roll Tide in return, the question is of legitimate interest to many fans and observers. Rodriguez, in his easygoing style, proposed what he called a lucrative deal for Jacksonville State, a team that could certainly use the financial boost of a game against a powerhouse like Alabama. But beyond the jokes, there's an underlying truth to the teasing. These matchups could be a boon to the state's smaller programs. Teams like Jacksonville State, UAB, and even Troy often struggle financially and in terms of visibility, something that could be mitigated in part by facing a giant like the Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama Athletics Director Greg Burns' response was similarly lighthearted, acknowledging Rodriguez's sense of humor and the friendship between the two that dates back to the time Burns hired Rodriguez to coach in Arizona. While the response was delivered in the same lighthearted tone, it also underscored the current reality. Alabama's focus is on playing big-time opponents, keeping its schedule packed with matchups that solidify its position among the best in college football. So why doesn't Alabama play these smaller in-state programs more often? In practical terms, the answer lies in the strength of the schedule needed to keep the team on top. The Crimson Tide, led by a new coaching staff looking to build on Nick Saban's legacy of success, continue to target games that offer both competitive challenges and the national exposure needed to secure top rankings. Facing a smaller in-state team, while appealing regionally, may not provide the same strategic advantage for a team aiming for national titles. Still, the idea isn't completely out of the question. In recent history, it's not uncommon to see big-name teams face smaller opponents in non-conference games. Alabama has done so in past seasons, often using these games as warm-up opportunities or to get less experienced players up to speed. A matchup against Jacksonville State could fit into that scenario, except that the regional narrative would add even more interest to the game. From a financial standpoint, it wouldn't be a bad idea either. For programs like Jacksonville State, the revenue generated by a game against Alabama would be significant, helping to fund their annual operations. And for Alabama, games like these could keep regional interest alive without sacrificing the quality of tougher opponents in the weeks ahead. Of course, that depends on the team's willingness to adjust its schedule to include such games, something that, as Burns indicated, still seems far from any immediate plan. Rodriguez's comment may have been more of a joke than an actual proposal, but it does highlight a point that many fans and analysts have made: how much more of a benefit it could be to both college football in the state and to the fans themselves if there were more meetings between Alabama and the smaller programs in the state. Not only because of the financial opportunities such games would provide, but also because of the excitement they would generate among regional fans. Even though that possibility seems unlikely at the moment, Alabama remains committed to keeping its schedule full of big national matchups. With new coach Kalen DeBoer still establishing his identity with the program, the priority is to keep the Crimson Tide competitive on a national level, seeking out matchups that truly challenge the team and prepare it for the postseason. But regardless of when or if we see an Alabama-Jacksonville State matchup, Rich Rodriguez's joke brought a touch of lightheartedness to a serious topic. In the competitive world of college football, where every game counts and the focus is always on the next title, a little humor and lightheartedness, like we saw here, is always welcome. Let's move on. The upcoming Alabama-Wisconsin matchup has been given an extra layer of tension by Fox Sports analyst Joel Klatt, who believes the Badgers have a legitimate chance to defeat the Crimson Tide. While Las Vegas sportsbooks have Alabama as the favorite by 14 to 16 points, Klatt offered an interesting perspective by stating that Luke Fickell's Wisconsin team could pull off a surprise. The matchup will be a real test for Alabama, especially since it's the first road game under new head coach Kalen DeBoer. The pressure on DeBoer is intense, considering he's building his legacy in Tuscaloosa following Nick Saban's retirement, and an early stumble in the season could raise questions about his leadership. However, the Crimson Tide have a history of thriving under pressure, and many expect the team to show its true potential in this crucial matchup. Joel Klatt, who will be on the commentary team for the game, drew attention to Wisconsin's progress since last year. Under Luke Fickell's leadership, the team has undergone significant changes, and the team appears to be more solid, especially in the running game. According to Klatt, quarterback Tyler Van Dyke will be crucial to the Badgers' chances. He needs to rediscover the form that recently put him on the radar of a Heisman Trophy contender, although his trajectory has been marked by inconsistencies since then. If Van Dyke can perform at a high level and Wisconsin's defense, which Klatt calls pretty solid, holds up, it wouldn't be a surprise to see the Badgers pressuring Alabama in a close game. It's worth noting that Luke Fickell has faced Alabama before, in 2021 when he led Cincinnati in a college football playoff semifinal. The Crimson Tide won 27-6 that season, but Fickell has demonstrated his ability to prepare his teams for big games, and now, with a team he is shaping at Wisconsin, things could be different. However, even with Klatt's confidence in Wisconsin, it is impossible to ignore that Alabama remains one of the most powerful programs in college football. Under DeBoer, the team is in transition, but it still has talent on all sides of the field. The challenge, however, will be to avoid repeating the mistakes of the last game against South Florida, where Alabama struggled unexpectedly until the final minutes of the fourth quarter. The Crimson Tide will have to perform more consistently, especially playing in a hostile environment like Camp Randall Stadium. History and tradition weigh in Alabama's favor, and even in a time of change, the team is expected to maintain its level of excellence. DeBoer, although new to the position, understands the pressure that comes with it, and is expected to address the issues that have arisen in recent weeks. A loss to Wisconsin would be a significant blow, but it also serves as a warning to the Crimson Tide not to underestimate well-prepared opponents. Another point worth noting is the evolution of Wisconsin's defense under Fickell. The coach knows how to build a solid defense, and if his secondary can neutralize Alabama's passing game, the Badgers may actually have a chance to pull off an upset. The environment in Madison should also be a factor. Playing at Camp Randall Stadium is challenging for any visiting team, and Alabama will have to deal with the pressure of a passionate home crowd that will be ready to push the Badgers to a potentially historic victory. Alabama has all the tools to pull off a win, but they will need to be at their best. With a solid defense and the potential for a resurgence from Tyler Van Dyke, Wisconsin cannot be counted out. However, the Crimson Tide, no stranger to challenges, knows that a dominant performance can silence the doubters and reaffirm their position among college football's elite. Klatt's taunt that anybody can be beaten on any given day certainly resonates in the Alabama locker room. DeBoer and his staff are aware that Wisconsin will not be an easy opponent, and preparation for this game in particular will be essential. While Alabama will enter as the favorite, the need to prove itself in a hostile environment and against an experienced coach like Fickell, who is familiar with the Crimson Tide's power, adds an extra layer of challenge. We're going all out for this game. Former Alabama wide receiver Marquis Mays's recent outpouring of support for five-star recruit Justice Terry reflects the importance the Crimson Tide is placing on this young prospect. Mays, who had a successful career at Alabama, knows how much the presence of elite players can make a difference in an established program, and his involvement in Terry's recruitment only reinforces how seriously Alabama is taking this competition with other top schools, such as Georgia. Justice Terry, one of the most promising defensive linemen in the 2025 class, currently plays for Manchester High School and has already attracted attention from top programs in the country. His final decision is still on the horizon, but the fact that he is considering Alabama and Georgia shows the weight his choice will have on the future competition between these two college football powerhouses. Mays got right to the point in his statement on X, where he emphasized that Alabama has to have Terry. He compared the young talent to other high-profile recruits Alabama has managed to land recently, such as Ryan Williams and Jalen Backwee, both standout players in their respective classes. That comparison is a strong compliment to Terry, placing him among the most coveted and strategic recruits for the Crimson Tide's future. Mays also brought a personal perspective to the conversation, reflecting on his own experience as a recruit at Alabama. He noted the difficulty Terry will face in making this decision, but he was quick to point out the benefits Alabama offers beyond the football field. The Crimson Tide's statement that you're taken care of even after football is over is a powerful reminder of the support infrastructure the program provides its players, both during and after their careers. For many young athletes, this is a crucial factor when deciding where to continue their careers. Involving former players like Mays in recruiting is a common practice at elite programs like Alabama. These former athletes, who have enjoyed success both on and off the field, serve as role models and advocates for the program's values and legacy. Mays is one example of this, using his platform to influence young talent to follow his path and achieve the success he has enjoyed under coaches like Nick Saban. In the case of Terry, Alabama knows it is in a tight race with Georgia, another powerhouse in college football. In recent years, the Georgia Bulldogs, under Kirby Smart, have emerged as one of the most dominant programs in the nation, making this battle for Terry all the more significant. Recruits like Terry could be the difference maker in future matchups between these two schools, and having a defensive talent like him could shape the future of the Crimson Tide for years to come. In addition, the competition between Alabama and Georgia in recruiting has been intense, with both programs often competing for the same elite athletes. Each high-profile commitment can represent a critical advantage in future seasons, and landing someone with Terry's talent and potential would be a major coup for either team. While Terry's decision has yet to be made, the support of influential figures like Marquis Mays could tip the scales. Not only is Alabama one of the most successful programs in college football history, but it also offers a network of alumni and a culture that continues to care for its athletes, something Mays was keen to point out. These factors could be decisive in Alabama overcoming the competition and securing Terry's commitment. The Crimson Tide's future continues to hinge on their ability to attract and develop elite talent, and just as Terry represents exactly the type of player who can keep Alabama at the top of the college football landscape. For Kalen DeBoer, this will be another major recruiting win, further cementing his position as the program's new leader and setting Alabama up to continue its journey of excellence. Game on! The Alabama Crimson Tide continue to strengthen their options for the future with the recent offer to promising defensive lineman Christian Ingram from Newton High School in Covington, Georgia. The veteran class of 2025 prospect, who has attracted attention from major college football programs, now has a significant opportunity to join Alabama's legacy of excellence. Ingram, who has already received offers from elite programs such as Georgia and Vanderbilt, expressed how much Alabama's offer means to him. The tradition of producing exceptional talent and developing players who stand out on the national stage is something that weighed heavily on the young defender's mind. It means a lot to me to know the legacy that the Tide has and the amount of talent that they produce, Ingram said in an interview with Touchdown Alabama, making it clear his respect for the program's legacy of excellence over the years. Ingram is a real nightmare for opponents at center field. His physicality and technical skills make him a constant threat to quarterbacks and running backs, as he demonstrates by shedding blocks and chasing down ball carriers with efficiency. His ability to make an impact in the middle of the defense has caught the attention of several colleges, and Alabama's offer comes at a time when his recruitment is on the rise. Ingram's decision on which school to choose is still a long way off, but Alabama has already made its mark with this offer. In addition to his initial interest, he plans to take an official visit to campus on September 28, when Alabama will face the Georgia Bulldogs. It will be an opportunity for the young athlete to get a closer look at the environment, the coaches and the structure of the Crimson Tide football program. Ingram recognizes that Alabama remains one of the powerhouses in college football and sees great potential in the team under the leadership of new head coach Kalen DeBoer. In his words, he believes the Crimson Tide is still positioned to compete for a national title this season. I think there's definitely still a powerhouse with a lot of potential to win the Natty, national title, this season with the experience of the coaches and just the overall talent. That confidence in Alabama is a reflection of the program's consistency in remaining among the best in the country, even in a time of transition. Under DeBoer, the Crimson Tide has maintained its focus on excellence, especially in recruiting. If Ingram decides to commit to Alabama, he would join a group of defensive backs who have historically played a key role in the program's successes. The Crimson Tide has a long tradition of producing dominant defensive linemen, and Ingram could be the next name to emerge from that group. The battle to secure Christian Ingram's commitment is still ongoing, with other prestigious schools, such as Georgia, also trying to land his talent. However, Alabama's offer has put the program in a strong position, and Ingram's visit to campus in late September will be crucial for the Crimson Tide to showcase what it has to offer. Will this guy come? We can dream. Alabama basketball coach Nate Oats was recently ranked the 10th best college basketball coach in the country by Fansided's Busting Brackets website. This ranking is further evidence of Oats' rapid rise to the top of the basketball coaching elite, especially considering his transformative impact on the Crimson Tide program in just 5 years. With a 117-54 record, 4 consecutive NCAA tournament appearances, and 2 SEC regular season and tournament titles, Oats has cemented his position as one of the greats in college basketball. Oats' success at Alabama is remarkable. He led the program to its first Final Four appearance last season, a first in Crimson Tide history. This feat places him in a high tier not only for exceeding expectations, but for creating a new winning culture for Tuscaloosa basketball. This transformation is all the more impressive considering Oats' humble beginnings in the profession. Just 11 years ago, he was an unknown high school coach in Michigan. His big break came when Bobby Hurley invited him to join his coaching staff at Buffalo, where he quickly excelled, earning a promotion to head coach after Hurley left for Arizona State. His run at Buffalo was stellar, with a 69% success rate in 3 NCAA tournament appearances in 4 seasons. That performance caught the eye of Alabama athletics director Greg Byrne, who saw Oats as the ideal replacement for Avery Johnson. Since then, Oats has taken Alabama to new heights, and based on Busting Brackets evaluation, he is now considered one of the top coaches in the country. Still, some Crimson Tide fans and critics question whether the number 10 ranking is fair for a coach who has achieved such impressive results in such a short time. Some, like the author of the fan-cited article, Joey Luce, consider that ranking to be conservative. Luce argues that Oats should be ranked even higher, citing his immediate impact at Alabama and comparing him to other coaches who rank ahead of him on the list. Among the top names mentioned are Kansas Bill Self and UConn's Dan Hurley, who tops the list after winning back-to-back national titles. While Self and Hurley's success is undeniable, Luce argues that many of the other coaches on the list, such as John Calipari, Kentucky, Tom Izzo, Michigan State, and Rick Barnes, Tennessee, have not achieved the same level of recent success as Oats. Calipari, for example, who is ranked number 4, has been criticized for failing to lead Kentucky back to the top since 2015. While he is one of the greatest recruiters in college basketball history, his lack of recent NCAA tournament results raises questions about whether he still deserves such a high ranking. Compared to Oats, who led Alabama to 2 Sweet 16 appearances and a Final Four in recent years, Calipari's recent impact seems to be diminishing. Similarly, Tom Izzo's performance, despite his legendary status in the sport, has been inconsistent. Izzo has not led the Spartans beyond the Sweet 16 in the past 5 years, and the team has often been considered a bubble team, meaning it's in danger of missing out on the NCAA tournament. Purdue's Matt Painter has also been criticized, especially for relying on a generational talent like Zach Edey. The big question is how Painter fares without Edey, something Oats has shown he can do in his ongoing development work at Alabama. Baylor's Scott Drew, who won a title in 2021, has also failed to advance beyond the first weekend of the NCAA tournament since then. Houston's Keldon Sampson and Tennessee's Rick Barnes, while consistent, have yet to reach the same recent heights as Oats, who not only led Alabama to the Final Four but also defeated Sampson twice. Oats' greatest asset, however, is not just the results he has delivered, but the direction the Alabama program is headed under his leadership. For consecutive NCAA tournament appearances is a major accomplishment for any coach, but at Alabama, where the focus has always been on football, it is even more impressive. Oats is building a legacy that could very well take the Crimson Tide to new heights. With one of the strongest rosters in college basketball heading into next season, expectations are high, and FanDuel already has Alabama among the favorites to win the national title. If Oats can lead Alabama back to the Final Four, or even win the national title, his position in the coaching hierarchy will certainly be unassailable. What do you think? Comment below.